sun came out more. So that's why I named it So Happy Me and Me. So here it goes. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy being me. One more time. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy being me. If someone shows you who they truly are, believe them. If someone gives you the keys to their heart, receive them. That's a good place to start. The heart, the emotion, the passion I give out is everlasting. Why must I feel out of place and feel like I'm unattractive? I'm losing every game like I'm out here playing Madden. Why must I love love so much that love hates me? Quite frankly, no one wants to date me. Why must my fate be that of someone living in a world so shaky? I came to college and met the woman of my dreams. See, these are just dreams, so it ain't what it seems. I'm not into addictions, but sometimes I fiend, and on the daily I'm working to be on her team. Why must love move it seems? I'm in phase 1, and the movie's already begun. She moves away my clouds and turns my rainy situations into sun. All I need is my Jasmine. No. Her name ain't Jasmine, but she got that Jasmine attraction. See, I just want to sweep her off her feet like my name was Aladdin. All I need is a little flying magic, but where is my car? Why am I stuck in this darkness? Dot. And with such a persuasive intro, shouldn't my life seem perfect? Shouldn't I look in the mirror and say, let them know you're worth it? How can you be at the top of the totem pole and feel like you're worthless? You're looking at a young man that on the inside he's hurting. I'm trying to keep it deep, but this world is too surface up. Smile hovering over how he's perceived in reality. He's kept that undercover. That's just a formality. Oh yeah, back to reality. Let's take a glimpse of some portraits from Keith's gallery. I am the kid that will leave a conversation and bring up the next topic of discussion. My mind hurts so bad I gave myself a concussion. My mind is rushing and tussling. Sometimes I look at the world and say blank blank is disgusting. I say blank blank because my spoken word doesn't involve cussing. Mom's been out of work and my pop's out here scuffling just to pay a mortgage. See, my family is hustling. They paying 2 tuitions and I'm still not suffering. But it hurts my soul to see my mother out here struggling. My mind is in a state of frustration because of my nation and because of where I'm stationed. I'm stuck in a place that doesn't respect my race. I'm stuck in a place that doesn't respect my race. I'm stuck in a city that's known for verse 48, Memphis. And I'm stuck in a society that doesn't respect my faith. But wait. You gonna respect my waist? I turned my inseam from 44 down to a 38. I don't think y'all heard from 44 down to a 38. I lifted a societal burden and turned it into grace. God lifted my weight so he could increase my faith. But let me slow it down so you can respect my pace. I promise I'm so self-conscious. I promise I cry and I pray and I cry and I pray and I cry and I pray. Where are you, God? I can't hear you, God. I'm lost. I cry and I pray. I cry and I pray and I promise I'm so self-conscious. I was the kid that was afraid to tell the world I weighed over 300. So, hey world, I weighed over 300. I said weigh because now I weigh 293. That's why I can say today I'm so happy being me. But let me change my tone. You can't grasp my diction. Frank Ocean got it wrong. This ain't a bad religion. I'm speaking today to let you know I'm a Christian. I could have had dark thoughts or maybe tried to end it. I could have given up and pictured my life being finished. But because of him being risen, I am living. Therefore, I'm not existing no matter how it was written. I promise you today that my God ain't fiction. And y'all look up like he must be kidding. This leader of this movement, doesn't he usually talk about winning? Earlier, I conjured up a beginning. See, I'm a work in progress until the Lord says it's finished. Now, that's a better way to end it.
In his first year at the University of Tennessee, he stood out with his way with words, his multiple selections at Mahogany and Soul, And it's been recently announced that he will be a co-host for Mahogany and Soul, a campus event located at the BCC next year. We have Keith McGee with us today. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself, Mr. Alfred?
I'm good. Now, guys, the reason why I had to bring Keith in, because this is a special poet, freshman. He stood out his freshman campaign. He stood out with the way he was able to connect with people, and we want to get his take on things from poetry to African American culture. We just want to get his take on a couple things, and we're gonna get right on with it, guys. This poetry thing, what got you into poetry?
Well, I have to attribute, me getting into poetry. Probably ninth grade, we used to, in geometry class, we would just play around and do freestyles and stuff, just rapping. And, I played around with it, and people were like, hold up, like, you can really rhyme and put words together. Like, how are you doing this and putting words together? And I was like, I don't know. I just started doing it. And at some point in 11th grade, I just started writing down stuff because I wanted to do a Black History program. And I really wanted to, do something for the program. I said, I'm going to write a spoken word. I guess it's what, make it sound formal. I wrote one, and I did it in front of the whole student body, and, like, the whole school was amazed. They didn't know I had that talent. And from then on, I just kept writing. And whenever something came to my mind, I just write it down and try to put it into, a poetic format.
Could you attribute any person in particular that kept you motivated, with your poetry throughout the years?
Someone that probably kept me, motivated and kept me going would probably be Brandon Crawford.
Mm-hmm.
He's been my friend. We've been going to school together since kindergarten, elementary. We went to every school together, but I always used to practice different pieces around him and like say a line, and I'd be like, hey, what you think about it, Brandon? He'd be like, man, tell me like, oh, it's good. It's dope. It's pretty good, but he's kept me motivated, like, just not only in poetry, but in all facets of life, but mainly in poetry as well.
Now, Keith, how many poems do you have stored away, just reading somewhere right now?
Honestly, I have a Blackberry. Like I got this from Drake. Drake used to talk about, he used to write his raps in his Blackberry. So I used to have a Blackberry, and I have a Blackberry like full of old poems and different snippets of poems, but like pieces ready to just perform. I probably have 6 or 7 right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a lot of old poetry, like I could grab ideas from and make something new out of it. I got a decent range of things I could probably work with if I want to perform.
Now, the pieces and the poems that you write, does it have to be relevant to your life for you to write it? Or?
Yes, most times I say relevant to my life because as humans are drawn to people that they can relate to, and you gain more credibility if it's something that you've grown through and it's something that you've experienced, and you just never know who's out there that is going through the same thing. But I love writing about things I can attest to, and in most cases that relate to other people. So yeah, I love to make sure it's something that it's something that deals with me. So yeah.
Does that bring the best emotion out of you also when it's about you?
When it's about me, it does. It brings so much emotion out because I gotta be real with you. It's emotional writing poetry, like writing these things, because you're having to be so can't think of the word. You have to be so transparent. You have to be so real, and that's what really stands out of my poetry. I'm so real and just raw about stuff. I don't cover up anything. I just break it down. But yeah, the passion and it makes you feel better too, letting it off your chest. But it has to deal with me. So yeah.
Now, do you use this poetry to connect people together? Different cultures, different backgrounds. Could you say you use the poetry in your works to connect people?
Oh, yeah, poetry. Yeah, I make it. It's supposed to connect people. It's supposed to. I usually gonna make people more knowledgeable about things because I love poetry, but also I have a deep passion for politics as well. And politics is something that really drives me. A lot of times people don't know what's going on in the world when it comes to politics because they're not knowledgeable what's going on. And I feel like, why not use my poetic, gift that God gave me to make people knowledgeable and make it creative, so people will want to hear it. Because poetry is kind of fun. People love to listen to it, but if it's fun, they love to listen to it. You have a delivery, and you're saying something knowledgeable that they're going to grow and learn from. It makes it worthwhile. So yeah, it's about making people more knowledgeable about things they probably don't know a lot about.
Now let's stick with politics. You brought it up. How misinformed are people today about the political aspects of life and poetry? Just in general.
You mean just poetry specific or just politics?
Politics,
okay,
yeah.
Politics. People are so misinformed. People draw their opinions off of TV shows like Scandal and House of Cards and whatever they get from TV, but you really have to do your own background research. You have to look into laws and how they're put in place and understand the American law system to really understand what's going on, because what television and the media will do, they'll give you their own personal view of what it is. And if you don't understand, like, how to pick what you should know and pick what you should read and look at, you'll be swayed in anything you see. So people need to learn to read more and stop relying so much on media and technology, because you'll be swayed by what other people say. Because people are going to put their own opinion out there, so it's up to you to go really see and find the hard facts and the truth about politics. So that's what I do. I try to put politics in my poetry when I can, because I love law and I do my background research. I CNN, BBC, C-SPAN. I'm watching this stuff. I'm watching these litigators. I'm watching these lawyers. I'm watching these state legislators. I'm watching them do what they do, and I know what's right, so I can, see things. I can discern what's going on. So, I'm trying to help the misinformed, the people that don't understand, the illiterate about politics. So,
now let's just stick with people. You brought up how people and helping people. The African American culture, with you being an African American, I want you to get your take on why is poetry so shied away from, and they'll kind of normally an African American, just speaking of the culture in general, they'll go to rap instead of just going to a straight poet piece with no beat or nothing like that. They'll go to rap. Is that a way of kind of being afraid of poetry? What is it with poetry?
Poetry has no boundaries or parameters. Poetry, people come to me asking me about asking about how does a poem sound, this and that, and I tell them it's great. They're like, no, it's not. I'm like, yes, it is, because it's your own personal writing. Poetry can't be wrong because it's how you're feeling about a situation. People go to rap because they've been trained by living in today's society that rap is the way to go, rap is the fastest to go, rap is the type of music to listen to. And I can't blame them for getting drawn into rap. Rap has the beat, rap has the relatable, context, the relatable situations in life. It also has rhyme. And that's why I listen to my poems. They're straight, almost all, every line rhymes. I do it on purpose. It's crazy. I told you I used to do freestyle, so I can easily make things rhyme and put words together. But I was like, if I'm knowledgeable about stuff and I can make, very intellectual words rhyme and they have good connotation behind them and good meanings behind them, people are gonna have to be drawn because their ears just trained to love rhyme. So I said, if I can make poetry, just have straight rhyme, it's gotta touch people. So I can't blame them for liking rap, but I feel like they're gonna have to be drawn because I use that as a mechanism. Rhyme is something that catches people's ears.
Now, could you attribute social media? Social media is growing as we speak, and all the different apps and applications you can use nowadays. How big is social media when it's impacting people to go to rap and to go to different genres of music? How big is social media impacting the African American culture in general?
Social media is quick. It's technology. Technology is just so quick nowadays, where you can put something out there and people can see it, and people can get the message from it, and it's just easy. It's so accessible. Everyone can, any type of phone, any type of smartphone you have can have an application. And social media is just so crucial to society nowadays. It's just the way people communicate, and it's actually deterring people's communication skills. Like, it's hitting you to be able to communicate to people because you're hidden behind this computer screen, you're hidden behind a cell phone, and it's really hurting us more than it's helping us. And social media, people don't understand the power of what social media does. Social media is simple, it's used for fun, but when you put different messages out there and put different, pictures and things, especially when it comes to celebrities, when you put stuff out there, you're putting out different things to the community, and you influence so many people. So whatever you say, people are going to go after, and they have to remember, I do my poetry to inform people, but I also understand that everybody's not as strong-minded as others. So when they see something from different political figures or different celebrity figures and this sort of nature, they're swayed by it. And people don't understand that social media is crucial. It's simple, but if used in the right capacity, can change and influence society in the right direction instead of bringing us down the wrong road. And I feel like that's where it's really headed, down the wrong road. Lots of bad, negative things and negative thoughts and negative messages put out there in the community and the public.
How powerful can Keith McGee's poetry be in the future?
I feel like it'll be as powerful as God lets it be. I always speak about my spirituality. Most of my poems are about worldly things, but I always tie them into my spiritual life because I'm a very spiritual man. And I tell people about my freshman years where my poem, I talk about me, is my personal testimony. And it's how God got me through a dark time in my life. And I figured out that he gave me the gift, so I always put him in it. And the crazy thing about it, if I keep putting him in what I do, there is nowhere I can't go, because I've just been seeing on different occasions, I've been asked to perform at places you wouldn't expect a poet to do. Like, I've performed at several different fashion shows. You go to a fashion show, you expect maybe if it's intermission, it's going to be someone sing. They asked me to come do a spoken word piece at a fashion show. I've been in front of the Residential Hall Council. They had a big meeting. They asked me to come perform. I performed in front of that and blew them away. I performed in different multicultural audiences, and like, I'm not only touching our people, but touching people from different races. And I know there's nothing but God, because it's just not normal for someone of a different race to really understand the poetic, the rhyme scheme and the poetry form of, speaking. But I just know it's all him, and the more I keep him first, the more he keeps moving me in the place I'm not supposed to be. And I feel like I keep him first, man. I don't know, I might be in the next inaugural ball or the next inauguration doing a speech.
Wow.
Wherever he takes me is where I'll go. So yeah, man.
Just, you guys gotta see, just thinking in that space, this is a special poet we have here. Now, Keith, what is your favorite piece right now? The Keith McGee favorite piece, if you could call it right now.
It's gotta be me, because it took me somewhere I didn't want to go. I love to do spoken word pieces, but even though I love to be transparent, I'm still human. So I don't like to touch stuff that makes me uncomfortable. And to write that piece, it took me out of my comfort zone. I talked about my weight. I talked about my mother being out of work. I talked about my father struggling to pay for finances. I talked about my problem with relationships and women, and talked about my problem with passion. I talked about how I feel about being in America. I talked about my personal city, how we always talk about Memphis is just a city of crime and of death and murder. I touched stuff that is really personal to me and that I really wouldn't speak about. And I talked about being self-conscious. I walk around this campus like one of the most confident people on earth, but still I'm self-conscious. That's why I say one of my lines is, I'm at the top of the totem pole and feel like I'm worthless. Like, how can you be the top of the totem pole and feel like, how can you be that person on campus but still feel like you're worthless? Like, I touched stuff that was hard to go. I'm not gonna even lie to you. It's stuff I don't talk about, but I actually, it was some days I cried while I was writing it, because it was just so real. And those were tears that I've been holding in for so long and they need to be shed. But doing the poem and seeing people crying, seeing people being touched by it, it was worth it. It really was worth it, because there are people with the same problems. They don't have it in them to go out and speak about it, because it's just not their personality. They're very shy. But I went out there, and like I said, top of the totem pole. I don't brag. I'm a very humble person, but I figured out that I'm a big name on campus, and people know me. So when you see somebody that's like just known and popular on campus, and they're going through the same thing that you're going through, their relatability. They go back to my credibility. When I'm relatable to you, you can relate more. If I'm going through something you're going through, you can understand me more. Especially with weight. I know people walk around here that have weight problems all day and are self-conscious, and to see me be self-conscious and be transparent about it and know how to get through that problem, man, it's worthwhile, man. I remember in Mahogany Soul, I did it for the first time. I was almost in tears, man. Like, just being up there speaking, like, I know my story, I know what I've been through, but just thinking about what's going on, like, it took me to a place. But I thank God for that opportunity to be on the stage and let people understand that all that stuff will happen. This world will not be perfect. This world is full of sin, but God, but him, he will get you through these problems regardless of what it is. And like I said, if you keep him first in all things you do, there is nowhere you can't go. And just doing that piece does that. Like, I can do it a million times and still I'll be ministering to myself. I have to listen to that poem at least twice a week to get me through the week sometimes, because I can be confident all day, but life is still hard. But I have to use myself as motivation. But it's amazing, man. That poem takes me to a place, and I'm just so glad that God gave me those words to put on paper. Like, it's an amazing feeling.
I'm getting choked up with just being in this interview. You're talking to one of the great speakers. This is some classic quotes from Keith McGee. Now we're gonna try to compare you to somebody, if you could be compared. First, we're gonna ask you, what artists do you look at? Who do you who inspires you when you're writing your poetry, or does any artist inspire you?
I mean, from that aspect, if I had to pick an artist that's contemporary, I would have to say Kendrick Lamar, and not from the aspect of, you know, I just me personally, I don't do pieces that, you know, involve cussing because, you know, my pieces are more spiritual, but I enjoy the storytelling aspect. The storytelling is something that the imagery, the metaphors, the similes you use, they draw people in because they're relatable. And stories are something that always attracts people in. Kendrick is one heck of a storyteller, and I love the way he uses words. Like he has a very deep vocabulary. He has a lot of, you know, good words he uses in his pieces, and I'm like, wow, like to put stories with, you know, good vocabulary and good metaphors and good rhymes, like that's a style I could go for. And like I really am drawn in because of his storytelling aspect. And if I could pick a older writer maybe, I really enjoy Langston Hughes. It's just something about, I've always told myself, like, if I could live a different time period without racism, it would probably be like during the Harlem Renaissance. Like it was just so much culture in that time period, so many of the arts, so many great jazz musicians, so many great poets, so many artists. Like I feel like what's his name, Charlie Parker, the Birdman, Louis Armstrong. It's just great artists from that time period and their persona and their swagger. Not swagger as in clothing, but swagger in the way they carried themselves. And I have to put the racism back in it. Swagger in the way they carried themselves through hard times and trials. They still had class. They still kept, you know, they kept it real, and they always stuck to what they knew, and they stuck to their arts. And Langston was one heck of a writer. The way he could draw a portrait with words. Like it's crazy looking at his writings, and he's just something I really aspire to be, like a poet like that. A poet where I could say his poem 1,000,000 times and it still be timeless.
Wow. Now, when I asked this question, I'm kind of going off with the artist thing. You brought up Kendrick Lamar, how he inspires you with his storytelling aspect. He has Drake when we talk about in the rap culture. Are you looking for a competitor, or do you have that competitor? Someone who inspires you to keep going, to keep pushing forward, who's a poet or whatever he does that inspires you to keep going?
For the most part, no. And it's a reason why I say no. You know, we have beefs and, you know, competition in the rap game. It's cool for that aspect, but for what I'm going for, I mean, there are people I listen to all day that motivate me to keep writing and to keep, you know, enhancing my gift. But something I believe in is there's always room at the top for greatness. I don't believe in one person being the best. I believe in there's like this realm where everyone can be great. And I refuse, like, I feel like that's something that, you know, not to get off topic with the question, that's something that hinders the black community. We've got so accustomed to this dog-eat-dog world and fight your way to the top of the corporate ladder that we'll get to the top and just want to be the only black. I'm the only black there. No. You make it to the top and make room for the next person to come up. There's so much room at the top for greatness. I can make change on myself, but do you know how much change I can make if I had an army around me? Think about how much impact you'd have on society. If it's beautiful that I can talk in front of people, I can do spoken word, but think if there were like 40 of me walking around here. Like, what? You know how much impact on the world that could be? So that's why, you know, it's cool or whatever if you do competition, but I really don't care for competition. I don't believe in it. It's room at the top for everybody to be great, and that hops into something else that, not to get off topic again, but it's something I believe in. It's something I've been talking about for years. I talked about it in high school. It was called the movement. And, you know, I got it because there were so many different rap groups like YMCMB and Maybach music. I'm like, if I'm going to rap, I got to have me something behind me. So I came up with YK the Movement, and YK is Young Keys. But the movement was supposed to be a rap group. And I figured out that everybody around me couldn't rap. So I said, let's move from the rap group to just the world. If you're a part of the movement, you're all about progress. Movement is progress. And you're all about progressing to be great at whatever you're good at. You can be a saxophonist, you can be a great mathematician, you can be a great cooker, a great eater, whatever you're great at. As long as you're progressing to be the best at what you do, you're a part of the movement. And that's what I believe in. I want everyone to be a part of the movement. I want everybody to strive to be great at whatever thing they're good at, because everybody's good at something. So as long as you're striving and you're progressing, not saying you have to be the greatest, as long as you're striving to be the greatest, you're in the movement. And that's why I don't believe in competition, because I feel like everybody should be striving to be great at something. So, yeah, I guess that's a good question.
Now, when we go and we talk about your crowd movements and have you been able to give crowd reaction, it's been, I don't know if you go for it or it just happens. When you speak, you spoken. I've seen you in front of hundreds of people with poetry. It just happens. You get something out of the crowd that some kind of way by the end of your piece, it just seems like you always have people cheering or almost crying sometimes. Does that motivate you, or do you get anything out of that? Or
crowd participation, it's cool. I mean, you know, you do your piece, and I say stuff what I say with so much passion that honestly I could go up there, and if one person claps, that's perfect. I don't have to touch everybody, but as long as I touch somebody that day, because this is like it could be seen as selfish to, you know, try to make yourself big or whatever, but this is like the most selfish aspect of my life. I do spoken word. I can talk about anything I want to talk about. But I do spoken word. I talk about themes of life that everybody's struggling with, and I want everybody to get the message out of it. So as long as there's that one person in there that gets it, that's fine with me. But if the whole crowd jumps, thank God. I mean, that's another thing too. If God is driven through it, people have to be. You can't not. If God is infused in something, you cannot not be affected by it. So it just so happens that people, you know, get up and they get all excited. And they're like, okay, man, this was amazing, this and that. If I was talking about anything else, there'll probably just be, you know, some claps and good job, this and that. But tears, that's emotion, that's intimacy. Like when you can draw a person in the crowd to cry, you've had an intimate moment with that. Not even in a sexual form, but an intimate moment is in that relatability, that connection you make. And that's only because of God being infused in what I do. But crowd, man, whatever. I could be in front of 1,000 people and nobody stand up. I'm still going to say it the same way as if it was 2 people there. I'm going to say it the same way every time. And I'm going to pray that you understand what I'm saying and pray that you get it. And if you don't get it, I'm so spiritual that I know that you reap what you sow. If I sow a seed in you of positivity and knowledge, at some point it'll grow when it needs to be grown. So I take, you know, I don't even trip off of that. So.
In other words, we don't care if you like a piece or not. It's going to get said. Now we're going to end the interview on this note. What can we expect from Keith McGee going forward in the future?
Keith McGee in the future, I'm excited. I'm really excited. I really don't want to go home for the summer. Like, this is the end of my freshman year. I love UT, love the people I've met. In the future, like this summer, I'm going to be writing. I have so many ideas. I just walk around every day and I think of a line and write it down. I have so many ideas, so I'm going to be working on maybe 10 to 12 pieces this summer. Like, I'm going to be going in because it's just, over this past year, I can do poetry, but it's become a passion. So something that, you know, excites me and gets me excited. So I'm going to be working on poetry, but poetry is just one aspect of my life. I'm very, you know, I believe in politics as well. So I'm going to be thinking of some strategic ways to get some different forums together for next year, so we can be informed on things such as politics and what's going on in the community and in the world and aspect of politics, and also getting some things together for student government, and really something that I'm passionate about that I've seen in every interview dealing with UT. I'm passionate about retention rate, and I'm passionate about retention rate in black males. And I don't say it to be selfish, but if we don't take care of ourselves, no one else will.
It needs to be said.
So I'm really passionate about black retention when it comes to freshmen, and I believe that I don't know what I can do, but I'm just going to pray about it, and I'm going to put some stuff together to really get people on board and do some things to help unify us as a community, because how can we be upset about division between whites and blacks when we have so much division amongst our own race? So I'm trying to think of things to help unify our black community on campus, because, I mean, it's funny. I know I'm off topic, but black people, we are unified when there's a problem. But when we're living okay, we can be split as we want to be. Like, it takes stuff like a Trayvon Martin or stuff like a Gina 6 to happen and, you know, get us all riled up, and then we're together. But when we're all living in happiness and harmony, it's all about, can I get more happiness and more harmony? How can I knock you down so I can get some of your harmony and your happiness? I'm trying to develop that unity in all aspects, because if we're unified at our worst, we can be unified at our best. And unity is something we need, not only amongst us. We start with us. We fix us first, then we can fix the world. Why would I go out there and try to clean your house if my house ain't clean? Why? I got to fix home first, then I can touch the world. I want to start with black retention, black male retention, then we can move to black women's retention, then we can move to add our Asian brothers, our Indian brothers, any other multicultural retention, then we can touch the white retention as well, because my white brother is just as important as my black brother. I need them to retain as well, because this is just a color, this is a pigment of skin. We're all people. We're all humans. So I start at home, then I touch the world. I gotta get me right first before I can impact the world. So be on the lookout for it. I don't know what's about to happen in the next 3 years, but something big is about to happen when it comes to unifying this campus and people retaining and understanding things. And not only academic retention, but spiritual retention. Honestly, if you get your spiritual retention right, everything else will flow. I would say this and be done. But in my life, when it comes to, I prayed about getting my spiritual right, my mental right, and getting my physical life right. When I tell you I got my spiritual life right, I lost 40 pounds in my freshman year. I started having less mental problems. Life got perfect. But when you get your spiritual aspect right, everything will fall into place. And I don't know how I'm going to do all that, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen.